The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as things kick off. The episode starts in the courtroom, where the case of Austin versus Wallace is announced. The judge greets the audience, and Jerome, the court officer, responds along with the audience, setting a formal yet interactive tone in the courtroom. You won't believe how the drama unfolds next, so keep your eyes peeled.
This is your third time here in our courtroom with Mr. Wallace and Ms. Roberts. Previously, you were here because Mr. Wallace questioned the paternity of your other child, but now you find yourself in the same situation.
Here we go again with Ms. Austin taking the spotlight. Ms. Austin is introduced, marking her third appearance in the courtroom concerning paternity issues with Mr. Wallace. The background of their previous cases is summarized by the judge, emphasizing the recurring disputes and the current necessity to establish the paternity of Ms. Austin's 9-month-old son, Ronald, urging Mr. Wallace to acknowledge his responsibilities if proven to be the father. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Today, you say you need to prove to Mr. Wallace that he is the father of your son, Ronell, so that he can begin to step up and be a father. You claim you have multiple reasons to doubt when it comes to whether or not you are the biological father of this child, and today is your last visit to this courtroom.
Just when you think it's calm, Mr. Wallace stirs up a storm. A conflict escalates when Mr. Wallace derogatorily addresses Ms. Austin, leading to a courtroom intervention by Jerome, who admonishes Mr. Wallace's behavior. The judge demands respect and decorum, ultimately expelling Mr. Wallace from the courtroom temporarily, highlighting the emotional and contentious nature of the proceedings. You might want to grab some popcorn for what's coming up next.
She is on point.
You're not gonna address a courtroom that way. You better pipe your down. Get out room, Mr. Wallace.
I never had anybody to show me how to treat a woman or to be a man. Need help on.
Oh boy, Mr. Wallace drops another bombshell. Mr. Wallace admits to his ongoing indecisiveness between Ms. Austin and another woman, Ms. Roberts, further complicated by Ms. Roberts' current pregnancy, which could also potentially be Mr. Wallace's child. This revelation shocks the audience and adds another layer of complexity to Mr. Wallace's relationships. Buckle up, the twists and turns get even wilder from here.
But you still going back and forth between the two, because she's pregnant now, and the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
Because let me just say something, because last time I talked to you on the phone, you know I called. You had your kid, you sounded so happy, you sound like you were on the right track.
The courtroom goes silent as Ms. Austin shares her tale of woes. Ms. Austin discusses her challenging personal circumstances, including multiple pregnancies, and attempts to stabilize her life through education and relationships. Her emotional strain is evident, compounded by the social stigma and personal regrets expressed openly in court. What she reveals next will definitely raise some eyebrows.
Since the last time we was here, everything started out, but we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Still bouncing back from me and Kendra. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go. I had got pregnant once again, and she got pregnant with her baby. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again with my third baby.
I don't know if it's because you're nervous, Miss Austin, which, look, I wouldn't blame you if you were, but it's not funny. I keep seeing a smirk on your face.
Things heat up to a boiling point with a fiery exchange. A heated exchange erupts between Ms. Austin and Mr. Wallace regarding fidelity and personal attacks, leading to a chaotic scene where both parties hurl insults. The judge intervenes, stressing the need for respectful communication, but the altercation underscores the deep personal conflicts and mistrust between the individuals involved. Fasten your seatbelts, because there's more turbulence ahead.
Text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. About the 5th, 6th time, texting different men.
Well, where your proof at? I never saw it.
Miss Austin, were you sleeping with these men?
No. Lie detector me, please, right now.
How is you can't just be involved with all these different men without
Because you lay down with everybody who you talk to, because that's what you do.
you and the Lord know you a slut. And
No,
that's like-
you're
Hold on,
slut.
member, from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here. We are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom.
All hell breaks loose, and the judge calls for order. The altercation escalates physically among the parties, forcing the judge to call for order as security intervenes. The severity of the dispute prompts the removal of Ms. Roberts from the courtroom, emphasizing the volatile emotions involved and the challenge in maintaining courtroom order. You won't want to miss what happens next as they start to see or they try to dial down the drama.
Just because I know that you with her.
To do with that.
Yes,
If
you
you
do.
was sleep with somebody else,
Yes,
man,
you
then
do.
you got low.
It is.
I know you.
Let's get Due to the exchange that occurred between Ms. Roberts and Ms. Austin, Ms. Roberts has been removed from the courtroom. You know, we're here because yet another child is in the world, and we're unsure if you are their biological father.
Mr. Wallace is clearly not having a good day, and he's not shy about expressing it. The air is thick with tension as Mr. Wallace voices his frustrations, accusing the judge of bias. This tension culminates in Mr. Wallace threatening to leave the courtroom, but he is persuaded to stay and address the issues at hand, reflecting ongoing communication and emotional challenges. The climax of this courtroom saga is just around the corner.
Bull crap performance she put on. Well, I need to walk out.
Roniel, don't walk out again. You do not repeat the same mistake as last time. Stand up here, get your composure.
I knock that gun
Stop
out your
it.
head.
No, you won't.
Mr. Wallace.
You sitting up here, you taking her
Come
sack.
on.
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up.
Finally, some answers, and maybe a bit of peace. The paternity test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father.
Buckle up, because this ride is just getting started. Ms. Nesbitt initiates legal action against Mr. Henderson to establish paternity for her 7-month-old daughter, Zion. She's firm in her belief and demands that Mr. Henderson step up once the DNA test proves her right, showcasing the high emotional stakes. You won't believe the curveballs coming up next.
You are suing to prove to Mr. Henderson that he father of your 7-month-old daughter, Zion. You say that when the results prove you right, you expect Mr. Henderson to step up. You claim your case is simple. You say Ms. Nesbitt cheated on you with her neighbor. He is Zion's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your popcorn, things are getting spicy. Mr. Henderson counters with a bombshell accusation of Ms. Nesbitt's alleged infidelity with her neighbor right around when conception could have happened. His bold claim ramps up the drama, stirring the pot of this heated paternity debate. The next twist is just around the corner, and it's a doozy.
Well, he buy her diapers, that's about it. He doesn't do anything for my child. He does more for my 2-year-old son that he knows that's not his than his own daughter.
Because I feel that I shouldn't have to take care of another man's baby.
Get ready for this jaw-dropper. In a fiery exchange, it's revealed that Mr. Henderson went behind Ms. Nesbitt's back to sign the birth certificate, even though she had serious doubts about his paternity due to her own uncertainties. This bombshell adds layers to their already complex relationship saga. Brace yourself, because the story spirals even wilder from here.
You know that's your child. You've been knowing from the beginning. You signed the birth certificate down the stairs and signed it without my permission.
Yes, I did.
I went downstairs to go get my birth certificate to put his name on there because I had doubts from the beginning, but he snuck anyways and signed his name on there.
You had asked him previously not to sign it because you had doubts yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
You'll want to sit down for this one. Judge Lake digs deeper, questioning why Mr. Henderson would acknowledge paternity by signing the birth certificate, yet barely engage in his daughter's life beyond buying diapers. This crucial point underscores his confusing stance on fatherhood. Hang on tight, because the revelations just keep coming.
Your Honor, because I didn't want him all in my business.
Oh, Your Honor, that's a lie. He's not the birth certificate. He have rights of the baby, so he can get custody of the baby.
You understand, when you sign a birth certificate at a hospital, you are acknowledging paternity legally. You said, I'm the father, I'm responsible, I'm gonna take care of this child. So why are you not taking care of the child and only bought some diapers?
The baby's not mine, Your Honor. I can't be no man that's taking care of another man's baby.
Just when you think you've heard it all, Ms. Nesbitt confesses to a vulnerable moment that led to a scandalous one-night stand with Mr. Brown, neighbor, during a rocky phase with Mr. Henderson. This unexpected twist adds even more intrigue to the already muddled paternity question. The plot thickens immensely in the next scene, so stay tuned.
Well, let me tell you how it all began. He had sex with his cousin, and I felt very vulnerable about it, you know.
Yes, I did, but that was before her. She already knew about that.
Yes, let me tell you how it all began. You know, I received the inbox telling me she said that she had sex with my little black car and they had a baby. And I felt very astounded about it, so, you know, Miss...
Told you before that when you was sitting in the car with your friend.
No, that's not true, and you got her pregnant.
Yes, it is. It's true, Your Honor.
Here comes a wild card. Mr. Brown steps into the courtroom, throwing another layer of chaos into the narrative. He shares his brief but impactful encounter with Ms. Nesbitt, complicating the paternity puzzle even further. You won't want to miss how this plays out. Things are about to get even more convoluted.
Brown, we're here, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to baby Zion. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Ms. Nesbitt.
First met her, she had moved to my apartment building a couple doors down. I used to always flirt with her, to blink an eye at her, you know what I'm saying? Because she was a cute girl, you know?
She was a nice friend, that's about it.
Yeah, that's basically about it, you know?
Have a sexual encounter with her.
Yeah, one time.
It was just like birthday sex, that was about it.
Can you handle more? As the DNA test looms over them, Mr. Brown shows a surprising readiness to accept fatherhood should the results prove him to be the dad, despite using protection during their encounter. His openness adds a poignant twist to the ongoing drama of responsibility and fatherhood. The climax is just around the bend, and it promises to shake everything up.
You submit to the court that she doesn't look anything like you, in your opinion.
One day she had told me she didn't want to take them. First, she gonna test me. I'm like, yeah. Then one day she called, text me like, you don't need to hurt
Your
his
Honor,
feelings
he's
or
the
something.
one that called me.
So wait, she asked you to take a test. Do you mind?
Tell her what I tell her. I don't mind taking a
Your
test.
Honor, that's not true. We should take a DNA test, and I told him no. He said that's unfair.
Cause she done already told me a couple times already to take a test. And you already told me and texted me that it might be my baby. So, you know what I'm saying? I got 4 kids already. I don't mind taking care of another one.
Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Straps tightened, the DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not her father.
Oh! Hey, I told
Okay,
you.
sit down, Mr. Brown. We don't.
Here we go. Miss Salvo takes the stand with a heavy heart. Miss Salvo testifies in court, emotionally claiming that Mr. Gonzalez is the biological father of her daughter, Amaya. She expresses her deep concern about Amaya potentially growing up without a father, which evokes a reaction from the audience. Just when you think it's all tears, Mr. Gonzalez drops a bombshell next.
You claim that around the time you conceived your 1-year-old daughter, you carried on a sexual relationship with the defendant, Mr. Gonzalez. Today you say you desperately want to prove Miss is her biological father because it will break your heart if she has to grow up without a dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you believe this twist? Mr. Gonzalez counters Miss Salvo's claims by accusing her of being untruthful and suggesting that other men, including his best friend, could also be the father of her child. This raises doubts about the paternity of Amaya and complicates the case. Buckle up, Miss Salvo's response is coming up and it's a doozy.
You state you're also hoping Amaya is your daughter, but because of Miss Salvo's repeated lies, you have no idea. In fact, you argue that Miss Salvo had sex with multiple men, including your best friend, and any one of them could be her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hang on to your seats, folks. Miss Salvo is not holding back. A tense exchange unfolds as Miss Salvo vehemently denies Mr. Gonzalez's allegations of her infidelity. She admits to only having a sexual encounter with him once while intoxicated, which she regrets, further complicating the narrative of their relationship. Next up, the plot thickens even more, if you can believe it.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. Ever has sex with any Hispanic man but him. Black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time. I was drunk. He came over. He got me at the right time.
You had sex with him just one time?
Yes, and he claiming it's been multiple. No.
Just when you thought it was just about baby drama, Mr. Gonzalez recounts a more naked time. The court listens to Mr. Gonzalez's description of their ongoing sexual relationship, which includes multiple encounters. His recount includes a humorous incident involving his nudity in the kitchen, witnessed by Miss Salvo's mother, adding a lighter moment to the proceedings. Don't go anywhere. Miss Salvo's counterclaim is just around the corner.
I started off with her mom knew my mom. I knew Ashley. So we will go over, we'll drink, we'll watch movies and stuff. One thing led to another. We started kissing. We had sex. I was thirsty.
Did you use protection?
No, ma'am. I was thirsty. I went to get something to drink in the kitchen. I was naked. Her mom saw me. Her mom didn't get mad at me or nothing.
Strap in for Miss Salvo's fiery comeback. Miss Salvo disputes the claim of multiple sexual encounters with Mr. Gonzalez, asserting it only happened once and it was not memorable. Her testimony emphasizes her current belief that Mr. Gonzalez is the father due to the physical resemblance between him and Amaya. The courtroom's about to heat up with the DNA results up next.
I had a current boyfriend at the time yet.
Were you also sleeping with the boyfriend during the same time period? Were you using protection with your boyfriend?
Periodically, but not as
Not
much.
consistently.
Yeah.
Any reason why your boyfriend's not in court today as one of the potential fathers?
The reason we stopped with contact because, he did help me financially when I thought that she was his. But when I had her, when I looked at her, I just knew it wasn't his. He was black and she...
The suspense builds as another father figure gets ruled out. The court hears about the DNA test results from another potential father, which excluded him as Amaya's father. This testimony heightens the anticipation of the results concerning Mr. Gonzalez. Wait for it. The judge's next announcement is a jaw-dropper.
Well, you know the only way to truly exclude a potential father in a paternity situation is a DNA test. Did you test your ex at all?
I did test him.
And what happened?
He's not the father.
Well, that's what your evidence is, Miss Salvo. So you had your ex tested, and it would reveal that he was excluded as a possibility. So now that you know her ex has been tested,
You might want to grab some tissues for this one. The climax of the episode occurs as the judge reveals the DNA test results.
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
No time wasted, accusations fly. Mr. Barlow jumps straight into his doubts about the paternity of Jabril, claiming the boy looks nothing like his other children. This assertion sets the main conflict of the episode, revolving around paternity and Mr. Barlow's suspicions. It's a roller coaster from here, and you won't believe what's coming next.
You say your 8 kids look exactly like you, but the defendant's son, Jabril, looks nothing like you. And that's because you're not his father, and you know who is. You stand in court stating that Mr. Barlow is your son's biological father, but also say if he's not, there's a good reason for it.
Things heat up with some heavy allegations. Mr. Barlow throws out a bombshell, accusing Ms. Winslow of cheating with the landlord during his absence, which she strongly denies. The audience reacts vividly, and the judge's probing adds even more fuel to the fire. Buckle up, because the drama intensifies from here.
Your Honor, I doubt these things due to the fact that during the time of Jabril's conception, you understand, and as I was away,
Your Honor, it was around enough for us.
While I was away, I believe she was sleeping with the landlord.
You do?
Yeah.
And that's not her honor, the landlord.
Why do you believe that? What evidence do you have?
The way I would call all the time, because I got a long past of infidelity. And so I left. When I went away, he said pay back some.
Plot twist with a side of suspicion. The discussion turns to the odd hours the landlord seems to be around, like fixing things at 10 or 10 p.m., which Mr. Barlow finds highly suspicious. This testimony dives deep into the peculiar nature of the landlord's visits to Ms. Winslow. What unfolds next is even more intriguing, so stay tuned.
Call me back.
Your Honor, the landlord there at the house.
So you're saying when you call, the landlord would be there and she tell you to call back?
Doing his landlord responsibility.
So I hang up and
because I ain't need my undivided to see what's going on with the house.
Clearly, if the landlord's going to repair something in the apartment, so if she says, just because she wants to make sure he's fixing the right thing?
I'm calling at 10 p.m. and
you
he there.
the house at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
and you know why, Your Honor?
And stuff.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, Ms. Winslow details a convoluted backstory with a previous landlord and how her current landlord let her move in without upfront payment. Mr. Barlow sees these acts as potential evidence of a personal connection. The next bit will have you questioning everything you thought you knew.
This is what happened. When I moved into this apartment building, I had got duped by a crooked person. The landlord that I was supposed to move into a house in, I paid him $2,000. What I went to do is get my lights cut on, and they told me that the place that I was trying to rent, therefore I'm driving around in a U-Haul with no place to go. I come across a landlord, gave my $2,000 to a landlord that was crooked, and I can't even move in the house.
Dialing up the drama with more doubts. Mr. Barlow talks about how Ms. Winslow frequently hung up on him, fueling his suspicions of her infidelity. This segment highlights Mr. Barlow's growing mistrust and Ms. Winslow's escalating frustration. Hang on, because the emotional stakes are about to soar even higher.
Over, no exaggeration, over 80 times I call, and I'm like, yo, what's up, babe? Hey, I can't talk right now. Click, and so I call right back. I got the landlord here,
You said over 80 times. Called, and she basically just hung up.
Came home one time.
He tried to see if he could hear noise in the background. I'm at home with 3 boys. I don't have time. Let me hear who's in the background. Be quiet. That's his own insecurities because of his cheating he has done on me.
A twist that'll make your head spin. Mr. Barlow expresses that Jabril doesn't seem to have any family resemblance and speculates about the landlord's possible ethnicity linking to Jabril. He also entertains the idea that the child might have been switched at birth. The next revelation is a jaw-dropper, so don't blink.
I came home one time, I just popped up, right? I pop up one time, they crossing the street. I think the dude is stranger because I ain't never met him yet. And so they walking across the street and I'm like, yo, I approach all of them. Hey, what y'all doing with this stranger? He the landlord. You know, they got ice cream and sodas. He coming in, you know what I'm saying? I come home another time, they playing football, you know what I'm saying? Playing ball. He always at the house. For what?
That's a very nice landlord.
Emotions hit a high note. Ms. Winslow, in a tearful outpour, shares her fears that Jabril might not be her biological son, suggesting a possible switch at birth based on his distinct appearance and public reactions. The courtroom is gripped, and what happens next is truly staggering.
You say you feel like the baby doesn't look like you.
Only reason I can't tell you that they got the same hair color because he bald head.
My son obviously has African-American features. He doesn't look like me or Mr. Barlow.
Your son is very fair-skinned. Oh, he's a beautiful little boy.
Yeah, that's...
And so you feel like when you look at him, though, you don't see any resemblance.
He doesn't look like me or Mr. Barlow. So now that leads me to believe the only way that this baby is not this man's child.
Judge takes a breather. Suspense builds. Judge Lake calls for a pause to dig deeper into the case, underscoring the complexity and gravity of the situation. This intermission ramps up the suspense about the forthcoming paternity and maternity revelations. You might want to sit down for this part. Things are about to get real.
We're back in session in the case of Barlow versus Winslow. You've claimed this child could have been switched at birth. Go back to my chambers. I needed to do some research. I needed to look through the results. I had to find the maternity so that I could confirm whether or not you are, in fact, Jabril's mother. Is 99.9999%. You, Ms. Winslow, are Jabril's mother.
The big reveal holds your applause. In a climactic turn, the DNA results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Barlow, you are the father.
Thank you.
Ms. Kelly strides into the courtroom today, all business, ready to prove to Mr. Norris that he is indeed the father of her adorable twin daughters, Amira and Amia. She's got high hopes that after the DNA dance, Mr. Norris will finally step up to the parenting plate. Keep your eyes peeled for what's coming.
Ms. Kelly, you're here today to prove to Mr. Norris that fathered your 4-month-old twin daughters, Amira and Amia. Your hope is that after the DNA results are revealed, Mr. Norris will step up and help take care of his children.
Oh boy, here's where the plot thickens. Mr. Norris throws a curveball by expressing doubts about being the father, claiming he has genetic proof up his sleeve. Meanwhile, Ms. Kelly dives into the tough tides of single motherhood, wishing for some co-parenting harmony. But don't flip the channel just yet. The courtroom temperature is about to rise.
But you claim there is no way you can be the father and have genetic proof. So Ms. Kelly, explain, why are you so desperately needing Mr. Norris to step up?
Well, because I have 3 children already, so before all of this happened, I let him know that I didn't want to be another single mom. It's a lot taking care of 3 kids on my own. I don't have any kind of help. I don't get anything.
Did you catch that twist? The courtroom dives into their relationship backstory and the steamy details leading up to the pregnancy. Mr. Norris is on the fence, but admits there's a teeny tiny chance he could be the dad, though he's not throwing a party about it just yet. Strap in, because the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Mr. Norris, you admittedly have not stepped up.
I don't want to become financially or emotionally involved because I'm not the father. Ever in a committed relationship.
Well, it doesn't take that to make a baby. You know that.
It doesn't take that, but when she told me that she was pregnant, I told her right then and there, I said, I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's no possible way I could be the father, because we did have sex unprotected. I didn't finish the deed. We had sex twice. The first time, I remember it, but I remember not finishing.
Just when you think it couldn't get spicier, we pivot to Mr. Norris's pile of doubts, fueled by whispers and side eyes about whether those kiddos really look like him. The plot's as thick as molasses now, and you'll definitely want to stick around for the scoop in the next frame.
They don't look like me. I had a buddy of mine that worked with her. He told me that he had overheard her saying to somebody they were not my children, but they were her first child's father. That he was the father and it wasn't me.
Did you ever tell anyone that, Ms. Kelly?
No, me and my first child's father are not even on talking terms. He's doing what he's doing.
Grab your popcorn. This is getting good. Listen as Ms. Kelly lays out her heartbreak over Mr. Norris's ghost act, not providing a lick of support or a diaper to boot. She's juggling the single mom gig like a circus star. But wait, there's more drama just around the corner.
He wouldn't do anything. He wasn't helping. He didn't provide.
But he knows.
He wasn't present.
But he knows what it was between.
Right, but what I'm saying to you is, why have unprotected sex with a man that you're not committed to? We're on the same page. I know figured out
now,
what page that was.
I know that now. Why would I have unprotected somebody I'm not with? Now I know that now because I'm back to being.
And all this falls on you. At the end of the day, you see. You know,
I'm the one with the kids, and I'm the one that has to take care of the kids.
Hold on to your socks because they're about to be knocked off. Here, Mr. Norris details his radio silence during Ms. Kelly's pregnancy, blaming his doubts about daddy duty. He's all about emotional walls and not opening his wallet just yet. But the next revelation might just change everything.
While she was pregnant, I called on a regular basis. It was never smooth conversation. It was never like, oh, well, I'm a little queasy today, better than yesterday, but you know, everything's...
And you're not there.
But what all can I do, Your Honor? I'm not carrying a child. Only thing I can do is check up on you. I already told you, for one, I'm not sure 100% that I am the father, and I'm not going to be in 100% because I have a 4-year-old that needs my time and my money.
Here's a plot twist you didn't see coming. Mr. Norris steps up with some science, showing off his claims about the sickle cell trait conundrum. He's convinced neither he nor Ms. Kelly could be the genetic donors of that trait to the twins. But don't wander off. The expert's about to drop some knowledge bombs.
These are the twins. They both have the sickle cell trait. Sickle cell trait can only be passed genetically, which means mother has to have it or the father. Once you're said to have the trait, 4 or 5 months later, you get the shot to see if you have this. You can have the trait and not have the disease. I don't have the sickle cell trait. I went further in investigating myself because my mother's like, well, that's your proof right there. Like, you're not the father. I needed a little bit more. I went to the hospital and I checked my record.
Let's switch gears to some serious science talk. Dr. Witten Cherney waltzes into school everyone on what sickle cell disease and trait really mean, debunking myths and dropping truths. It's a must-watch as the doc clears the fog with precision. And just ahead, the truth will finally be laid bare.
I want to first understand, what exactly is sickle cell disease?
Sickle cell disease is a blood disease. It's a disease of the red blood cells, where the red blood cells, they take on an unusual shape. They're sticky and they're fragile, and they block blood vessels. So one of the hallmarks of sickle cell disease is pain from time to time.
And now, the moment of truth. Drum roll, please. The court's DNA reveal flips the script and confirms.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Norris, you are their father.
Sickle cell and all.
Can you believe what just unfolded? Ms. Arbogast steps into the courtroom with a bombshell, stating her claim that Mr. Vest has denied paternity of their 2-year-old daughter, Kinsley, ever since he hooked up with Ms. Arbogast's ex-buddy. She's swinging for the fences, suing for a cool $5,000 for childcare expenses. And just when you think you've seen it all, the next segment ramps up the drama.
You are in court today claiming the defense started denying your 2-year-old daughter, Kinsley, once he got into a relationship with your former friend.
Yes,
you claim the defendant has ignored the needs of your children, so you are suing for the max amount of $5,000 for child care expenses.
Hold on to your popcorn. This part's a doozy. Mr. Vest throws down the gauntlet, testifying his doubts about being Kinsley's father, pointing fingers at Ms. Arbogast's love life. He's been keeping his wallet tight, offering up a scant $100, believing he might not be the father. The plot also thickens with revelations about another child whose paternity is unquestioned. Strap in, because what comes next is even more jaw-dropping.
You are here to testify the plaintiff's promiscuous behavior is the reason you believe you are not Kinsley's father. And until proved otherwise, you refuse to financially support her. So, Ms. Arbogast, has the defendant helped at all financially?
If you say $100 over 2 years helping, then, I mean, if that's in his eyes, yeah.
$100 over 2 years?
No, he hasn't really helped at all.
The tension escalates rapidly here. The court dives into the gritty details of Mr. Vest's financial contributions, or lack thereof, with him admitting to a measly $100 towards Kinsley's upbringing. This sparks a fiery exchange about his financial and paternal responsibilities. But wait, there's more. Keep watching, because the revelations just keep rolling.
So if you don't have doubts about the older child, why are you not providing for that child?
I have been providing for that child,
When?
but recently I have been having bills and everything else that...
How much money do you say you've contributed to Kinsley?
Kinsley, probably $100.
No,
Yeah.
he hasn't. He's claimed $100 for Cameron and Kinsley.
100 for Kinsley. I've spent a heck of a lot more on Cameron than that.
You'll want to sit down for this next bit. Mr. Fritz, Ms. Arbogast's current main squeeze, steps up and sheds light on his father figure role to the kids, contrasting sharply with Mr. Vest's minimal financial contributions. Ms. Arbogast shares the deep emotional toll Mr. Vest's paternity denial has taken on her. The stakes are high, and just when you think it can't get any more intense, the next twist comes barreling down the pipeline.
He's the one who takes them out, does things with them, plays football with them. He does the father role, not Mr. Vest.
You've taken an active role in the children's life.
Yes, Your Honor.
How many times have you witnessed Mr. Vest financially support?
One time since I've been in their lives for the last 7 months, and that was $20 for pull-ups and diapers.
So you've developed a bond with the children?
Yes, I have.
That's about the time they start saying, Dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things get seriously heated now. Ms. Arbogast passionately denies ever suggesting that Kinsley wasn't Mr. Vest's daughter, challenging his claims and stressing her attempts to clear the air with paternity testing. This emotional roller coaster is far from over, so keep your eyes peeled because the drama escalates even further.
I never, ever have told him that Kinsley's not him. I have been begging for a paternity test. I even asked him to go and buy one of those $35 kits off the shelf paternity tests that you do at home and then you send it to a lab. Oh, I don't have the money for that.
Begging for it. Why didn't you go
Because
and get it yourself?
because you're the one who denies her.
Yeah, I've been asking for a while. Paternity
Okay.
test.
No.
Here comes the moment of truth. Buckle up. The DNA test results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Vest, you are the father.
I see.
Can you even handle this? Mr. Lee lays down the law, accusing his wife of stepping out too many times, which he claims led his own family to kick him to the curb. Their marriage? Well, it's hanging by a thread. He's so convinced he's not the dad that he's got the courts involved to prove it. Buckle up, because this roller coaster is just starting.
You say your wife, Ms. Lee, conceived a child cheating numerous times during your marriage. Now, you claim your family owned you because of her infidelity, and now your marriage is on the brink of divorce. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that you are not father of Ms. Lee's 11-month-old daughter, Carolyn Lee.
Hold on to your coffee, folks. Miss Lee fesses up to her wanderings, but throws a curveball by insisting the DNA test will show Mr. Lee is indeed the daddy. She's clinging to hope that this little piece of paper will stitch their marriage back together, despite the mess. Stick around, the plot thickens.
You admit to cheating on your husband. However, you say the paternity test will prove that he is the father. You're hoping that these results will save your marriage.
You're not ready for this. Just after saying I do, Miss Lee admits she swapped spit with a Bon Jovi doppelganger thanks to her celeb crush gone gone wild. The crowd's eating it up, and who wouldn't? It's a soap opera come to life. And guess what? It gets even juicier up ahead.
She went ahead and moved in with me. I mean, she stayed there with me for a few days, and then like the following week, she was cheating on me with a guy she claimed it looked like Bon Jovi. She has
The following week?
Yeah, well, she said he looked like Bon Jovi. I said he looks more like the Wolfman. Dude,
Ms. Lee?
Caught.
You cheated
I have a celebrity
week
obsession.
later?
Yes, I have a celebrity obsession in this guy he looked like Bon Jovi. He's just jealous because
The man lived
cheated on him.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, along comes the baby bombshell. Mr. Lee was all in, baby-proofing his heart and home. But whoops, doubts start creeping in mid-trial. With their marriage teetering like a Jenga tower, you won't believe what comes out next.
Things had gotten a little better.
Yeah, things
So you
gotten
felt like trust.
I felt like I could trust her. I felt like that this was my...
Now you're standing in court with a marriage on the brink, divorce.
This is...
And now you have doubt.
Yeah, I have doubt because she revealed to me that...
He was there for me, but he never acknowledged, never sang to her, he never talked to her during the going for ultrasounds. He was either asleep in the room or he wouldn't even go.
Brace yourself. This revelation hits like a left hook. Amidst the courtroom drama, Miss Lee drops another bomb. She cheated right after they engaged Inessa Nipwai. Kurgatawai 2 hours, he got engaged, and again, early in the pregnancy, Mr. Lee's still there, picking up the pieces. As for what happens next, you'll need to see it to believe it.
Told me after we left the OBGYN, well, you may not be the father.
And then what did you say?
Said, well, we'll just kind of ride it out and see what's gonna happen. I mean, there's still a chance I could have been, so I didn't want to just abandon her during pregnancy with what she might be my kid. I mean, what kind of father would I be if I didn't at least see?
She cheats on you the first time.
Yeah.
You take her back, your family disowns you. She cheats on you again, you take her back.
Yeah.
And now, the moment of truth. Ta-da, the results are in, and guess what?
Mr. Lee, you are Carolyn's father.
I told you.
Did that just really happen? Mrs. Gamboa airs out her grievances, tired of her husband's relentless accusations of her infidelity, including with the babysitter. She's here to clear the air and address his doubts about the paternity of their son, Dominic, which she claims has led to his emotional neglect. Just wait until you hear what's up next. This is just the appetizer. This twist is unbelievable! The plot thickens with the entry of Mr. Gamboa's stepfather, who shakes things up by claiming he informed Mr. Gamboa about the babysitter's suspicious presence in their bedroom. A stark contradiction to Mrs. Gamboa's previous assertion about the door being open. Hang tight, the revelations coming up are explosive.
My stepfather doesn't like me to begin with. Mr. Gamboa knew he was in the room, and he only slept on the floor.
Could this situation get any stickier? Mrs. Gamboa reveals that it was actually Mr. Gamboa's brilliant idea to have the male babysitter stay with them, as he was a mutual friend who needed shelter. She regrets this decision now, as it's only brought chaos into their marriage. The next piece of this puzzle will blow your mind.
He walks like him.
I mean, the babysitter walks like me too, and
no, he
look at the
doesn't.
back of his
No,
head.
the baby's-
The back shape of his head too looks just like the babysitter's.
This is absolutely heart-wrenching. The spotlight is on the emotional chasm between Mr. Gamboa and Dominic. Mr. Gamboa openly admits he hasn't bonded with Dominic, highlighting their painfully strained relationship. Keep watching. The emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
Have you bonded with the child?
That is Dominic at 1 year old.
This turn of events is a major game changer. In a dramatic twist, Mr. Gamboa exits the hospital for 2 days straight after Dominic's birth, amplifying Mrs. Gamboa's concerns about his dedication to their family. What unfolds next will truly astonish you.
They can have the other room.
I made the big mistake of trusting our baby, and my son Dominic's living through it now.
This is the moment everyone's been waiting for. The episode reaches its climax with the disclosure of the paternity test results.
It has been determined by this court that Mr. Gamboa, you are his father.
Thank you. Bond with him. Bond with him.
Strap in, folks. This is where the roller coaster starts. Judge kicks off the case of Walters versus Rogers and Sanders. Ms. Walters asserts that Mr. Rogers fathered her child during a childhood friendship turned complicated and now dodges his responsibilities like a pro. She's gunning for a DNA test to get some accountability. Buckle up because the ride's about to get bumpy.
Ms. Walters, you claim the defendant was a childhood family friend who got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 3-year-old son, Rylan. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that he is Rylan's father, so he will finally step up.
Next up, Mr. Rogers plays financial Jenga. He's neck deep in child support woes for a kid he swears isn't his. Armed with his mom, he's here to shatter that claim like a bad karaoke night. His tale of woe includes a stint in jail over unpaid child support that reads like a soap opera plot twist. And you thought your family reunions were awkward. Wait till you see what's up next.
Say you spent 2 months in jail for unpaid child support and are currently behind more than $2,500 in payments for a child who is not yours. You and your mother mother are here to prove that you are not Ryland's biological father.
Here's where the plot thickens, like Thanksgiving gravy. Ms. Walters unveils a saga of childhood bonds, secret romances, and the kind of family drama that could fuel a reality show. She details how their covert escapades have now landed them in court with a side of personal fallout. Grab your popcorn, because there's more drama ahead than a season finale.
I slept with another man weeks prior to even conceiving my son, and we did use protection. And at the time I conceived my son, he was the only person that I was having sex with. I've known them for 20 years now. We grew up together. We did family vacations together, holidays. Our families were always together. We grew up, we dated. That didn't really work out in middle school. The feelings came back once we got in high school, and we started living together again.
Watch as Mr. Rogers drops his jaw to the floor. He recounts his Oscar-worthy reaction to the pregnancy news, suggesting a congrats card for the other potential dad instead of stepping up to the plate. His initial rejection of daddy duties adds more spice to this already sizzling plot. Hang on, there's more head-spinning action just around the corner.
When she found out she was pregnant, we was best friends. We had been friends growing up our whole lives. We was together, you know what I mean, all the time. Not in a relationship, but we was friends. One day, sent me a picture while I was at work, and it was a sticky note that says 6 weeks pregnant. I text back, congratulations, tell the other guy congratulations.
Is that what you really felt?
Yes, ma'am, that is honestly what I believe.
Your Honor?
Because she was in a relationship with this other guy, so why would it automatically be mine? You know what I'm saying?
But were you sleeping with her during the window of conception?
Yes, ma'am.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tear-jerking, Ms. Walters talks about riding solo through the pregnancy turbulence, with Mr. Rogers only showing interest when the finish line appeared. The emotional neglect could win her the Lone Ranger Award, hands down. Keep those tissues handy. This emotional roller coaster isn't over yet.
It was hard. He didn't come to any doctor's appointments. I was doing it by myself. And then once I got maybe 7, 8 months, oh, I'll be there if he's mine. I'll take care of him. Don't put me on child support. He left the hospital before my son was born.
Okay, me and this girl have been through everything together, known each other since we was in diapers. I felt like she was trying to push me as the father because she knew we would always be there, our family.
Her dad and I were best friends. We took family trips. All that's been ruined since all this has happened.
This revelation hits harder than a reality TV plot twist. Dive into the tumultuous waters of family dynamics as Ms. Sanders reveals the bombshell of the secret relationship and its aftermath, shattering their family vibe like a dropped vase. Stay tuned, because the secrets keep unraveling faster than a knitting mishap.
Do you know if Miss Walters was intimate with anyone else?
Yeah, later on I did, because I found a bunch of condoms in her stuff when I went through it. Because I checked
And
all
Your Honor,
the kids
that was
for
from the health
drugs.
department. They give you condoms at the health department. That was right after I went to the health department. I went to her house.
Found them, you said to yourself, he must be sexually active now.
Sure.
But you weren't aware of that before.
I had heard that
You didn't
because
know
I
for
loved
certain.
her, I didn't listen to the rumors.
Brace yourself for a bureaucratic snafu. Mr. Rogers navigates the murky waters of legal proceedings with the skill of a blindfolded sailor, missing crucial court dates and getting pegged as the dad by default. His explanation could double as a how not to guide on handling paternity suits. Next up, witness testimony that's juicier than a gossip column.
All right, I was not in the delivery room when he was, therefore my name is not on that birth certificate. I've had no DNA but DNA established the whole time he has been in this world. How am I on child support? I was out of town working when the court date was set up for the DNA test. So I missed the court date, automatically rules me as the father. I'm thinking, how am I on child support? There's been no DNA. There's no connection to me and that boy. It's him being mine
Your Honor,
at the moment.
But there's been a court date.
Yes, ma'am.
Here comes a curveball with a side of fries. A witness steps up, throwing fresh light with insights that stir the pot even more, if that was possible. Their testimony could sell tickets if this were a movie. Don't go anywhere. The climax is more thrilling than a horror movie jump scare.
And Ms. Rogers, you are Ms. Walters' best friend. How long have you known one another?
22 years.
Last name Rogers?
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, ma'am, that's my sister.
So you and Ms. Walters are best friends because you all grew up together.
Exactly. I was in the house every other weekend, every summer, all the time. I went up there, she there all the time, every bit that we could be together.
And you're still best friends today?
Yes,
Your Honor.
Do you believe your brother is Ryland's father?
No, ma'am.
And now, the moment that could silence a stadium. The judge lays down the DNA results, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Roger, you are his father.
Can you believe this start? Mrs. Sams drops a bombshell, claiming that Mr. Doris, whose name is on her birth certificate, might not actually be her biological father. She's here to request a paternity test to clear the air, fueled by a jaw-dropping revelation at a family reunion. Meanwhile, Mr. Doris is visibly shaken, completely floored by the allegations, insisting with all his heart that he is her biological father. Brace yourself. The twists just keep coming.
Ms. Sams, you're here today requesting that this court grant you a paternity test to prove that the defendant, Mr. Doris, the man who is on your birth certificate is not your biological father. Mr. Doris, you say you are heartbroken that Ms. Sams claims you are not her father and say there is no need for a paternity test. You know are her biological father.
Things just got real. Mrs. Sams delves into a story about a revealing chat with her mother concerning some medical history inconsistencies that first sparked her doubts. After her mother brushed off her concerns and later hinted at secrets on her deathbed, Ms. Sams felt pushed to seek the truth in court. You'll want to stick around for what's uncovered next.
Making comments back and forth to my mom because of blood work that had happened. Our lab work was done about the same time in one of our pregnancies that typically only be if we had the same mother and father. So at that time I said something to my mom about it and my mom laughed about it. Oh, you know, there was this time in my life and, you know, things were crazy and kind of laughing.
But at that time, still maintained that Mr. Doris was your biological father.
Never really talked about it.
Hold on to your seats, folks. We're reaching the emotional climax of the case as Ms. Sams and Mr. Doris hash out their family drama in front of the judge. Mr. Doris's sketchy recall of key dates and past events only adds fuel to the fire of Ms. Sams's suspicions, while the judge stresses the importance of uncovering the truth for both familial bonds and medical reasons. Get ready, because it's about to get even more intense.
Mr. Doris, what was the nature of your relationship?
We just clicked right off the bat. I think we was together like 3 months and we ended up getting married. She was not pregnant.
Okay.
She wasn't sleeping with no one else but me.
You met her, you had sex with her, and then 3 months later you got married. You know when you married my mom?
I think it was October 77.
No, you did not. Married my mom June of 1979 in Oklahoma.
Here's where things get twisty. Mr. Hooper, Ms. Sams's uncle, steps up with some juicy details that thicken the plot. He suggests that Ms. Sams's mom might have been expecting before Mr. Doris came into the picture. This ties back to a mysterious amended birth certificate Ms. Sams found, pointing to long-hidden secrets about her birth. You won't want to miss what happens next.
Which would make you her mother's brother, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What information do you have about this paternity mystery?
Well, 77, 78, when my sister moved to my hometown, she was with another man at this time. He was gone. And at that time, my sister had a conversation with my father, saying that she had been a little late. Mr. Doris comes into the picture. They fell in love, they got married. Right after the baby was born, they just disappeared.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the court reconvenes with Ms. Sams and Mr. Doris having taken the DNA tests, and the air is thick with anticipation. Each is wrestling with what the results might mean for their relationship. Mr. Doris clings to hope, despite the looming evidence. The verdict is about to be delivered, and it's a doozy.
I am scared, I'm excited, nervous, I am terrified. I don't know, I won't be relieved until this is over.
It kills me to just for her to tell me I'm not her dad. And when I know deep in my heart I am.
We're back in session in the case of Sams versus Doris. Both parties have submitted to DNA testing that was ordered, and I have the results for you.
Grab the tissues, this is a doozy. The results are in, and they're a gut punch.
Mr. Doris, you are not her father. I'm so very sorry.
Buckle up, grab your popcorn. Ms. Harrison reveals the core of the dispute. Allegations of her father having an affair with Ms. Rogers' mother, which Ms. Rogers is convinced makes them siblings. The plot thickens with the introduction of a siblingship DNA test request, layering the emotional narrative with procedural drama. Just wait, the twists are just getting started.
You say the defendant claims your father had an affair with her mother and therefore is your biological sister. Now you've requested results of a siblingship DNA test to she's lying.
Hold the phone. Ms. Rogers asserts her belief in being Ms. Harrison's sister, firmly based on personal affirmations from her presumed father. This declaration ramps up the emotional stakes and throws in a good measure of personal belief against factual evidence. It's heating up. Prepare for the stakes to get even higher.
You argue that you do not doubt for a single moment that Ms. Harrison's father act your dad. Today you contend you'll prove to Ms. Harrison that you are sisters beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Did you hear that bombshell? A significant backstory unfolds as Ms. Harrison discusses their mothers being best friends and the confrontations that followed the affair rumors. This deep dive into their family history contextualizes the long-standing nature of the secrets involved. The drama escalates. Keep your eyes peeled for what happens next.
Her mother and my mother were best friends. When I was 16 years old, my father died. Her mother was confronted by my mother's sister, and even then she denied even having a relationship with our father, and I just don't believe that.
They are in denial, Your Honor.
Your mom was always in denial of whether she did it or not, we don't know.
That's a lie.
This is a tearjerker. Ms. Rogers shares a touching moment explaining why she believes the man in question is her father, supported by personal childhood anecdotes. Her heartfelt testimony brings an emotional depth to her claims, highlighting the complex personal connections at play. Get ready, the emotional roller coaster is far from over.
What makes you believe that her father is your father?
He told me so.
He told you.
He told me.
Okay, that's just another rumor. Did you see anything on a birth certificate?
No,
he was
on my birth certificate. He told
that says
me
it all right.
What did he tell you?
He told me that I was his. He called me. He said, "Daddy," when I was 8 years old, when I broke my arm, when I had my surgery, he also brought me a hippopotamus.
Are you feeling this? An emotional statement from Ms. Rogers about her father's role in her life illuminates the deeper connections and perceived roles within their intertwined families, adding layers of complication to the familial boundaries. Fasten your seatbelts. The revelations are about to get even more intense.
None of you guys had a father figure in your life, and he was just trying to be nice. That doesn't make him your father.
He told me at the age of 14, he picked just before he died and took me to Watts Cafeteria in our hometown.
I just turned 16 and you hadn't even had a birthday yet.
And then he had told me, no matter what my mother or anybody said, that he is my father.
Wow, talk about a plot twist. A DNA test revelation involving another sibling hints at deeper layers of secrecy and potential proof of relationship, adding complexity and intrigue to the case. This suggests that some family members might have been more in the know than others. Brace yourself. The next clip dives deeper into these secrets.
He is her godfather. You know, maybe she took
That's
that as being a
the reason they
father.
were my godfather and godmother, because they was hiding the secret.
Well, my mom, she was your godmother. She had agreed to be your.
Had no idea.
She had no idea.
So how? What you mean she had no idea?
She didn't have no idea. It was unbelievable to her that her husband would go behind her back and do something like that.
Can this get any more tangled? Testimony from another sister, Ms. McMahon, adds her perspective to the narrative, acknowledging the rumors and their impact on the family. This moment underscores the widespread effect of the secret within the family. The story unfolds further. Watch as the truth comes to light.
So did you grow up knowing Ms. Rogers to be cousin as well?
Yes.
But did you also hear the rumors?
I've heard the rumors, yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Rogers, you have to understand, to have to think about or even process the fact that their father may have had an affair, much less their mother's best friend, and it's considered to be their aunt.
Here comes the big reveal. The dramatic disclosure of the DNA test results confirms that.
It has been determined that you are indeed half-sisters.
We just want to know the truth. Fine with us.
The courtroom is buzzing as the drama kicks off. Miss Chandler and Mr. Hilliard are suing his sister and mother for defamation, claiming they've been spreading false rumors about the paternity of their son, Brandon Jr. They're not just here to clear the air, they're also asking for $500 in damages. Strap in, because the courtroom's about to turn into a theater of family drama and revelations.
Miss Chandler, you and your boyfriend, Mr. Hilliard, are suing sister and mother for defamation of character. You claim they are spreading malicious rumors regarding the paternity of your son, Brandon Jr. You are seeking the results of a paternity to prove that your baby is indeed Mr. Hilliard's son.
As Ms. Jackson steps up, you can cut the tension with a knife. She and her mother insist they have bombshell evidence that Brandon Jr. is not Mr. Hilliard's son. Their accusations of manipulation and deception against Miss Chandler turn the courtroom into a battleground of words. You won't believe what's coming up next.
You and your mother state that you have evidence that will definitively show Brandon Jr. your brother's child. Today, you are here to prove Miss Chandler's case against you out merit, and that your brother has been manipulated, deceived.
As the allegations fly, everyone's on the edge of their seats. Ms. Jackson dives into Miss Chandler's questionable behaviors, like her secretive phone habits and her alleged side conversations with other men. These accusations throw gasoline on the already fiery courtroom drama. Just wait until you hear Miss Chandler's comeback.
Annie has always gone to the racetrack, and she talks to guys on Facebook, texting guys, and she has a lock on her cell phone to where my brother can't see her phone. He stayed at my house with his kids.
Now, what proof do you have of that?
She's admitted it to me.
No, I have not.
You slept with that guy at your house. Brandon and the kids at my house.
We were not together.
Who's this guy you're claiming that Miss Chandler slept with?
A friend of a friend.
Miss Chandler hits back hard, defending her privacy and independence. She challenges the relevance of her past relationships to the current paternity dispute, insisting that her private life is her own business. The gloves are off, and the next exchange is even more heated.
You guys were getting back together.
Talk about me sleeping around.
What I do with my life is my business.
Three baby daddies. I got 3 babies
Okay, see if that's true, won't we? A guy that she lived next door to started dating him when my brother went to California with his sick son.
He broke up with me and I dated him for 3 days.
The courtroom drama deepens as family loyalty and betrayal are thrown into the spotlight. Miss Chandler and Ms. Jackson hurl accusations back and forth, each claiming the other has poisoned Mr. Hilliard against his family. The emotional stakes are sky high, and you won't want to miss what happens next.
That's why you and your mom decided that I was a bad person because
I don't even know why you're in the first place.
I took Brandon away, and I'm independent, and I care.
All you do is give in to her. It's what you've done for 4 years. You give in to her. Yeah, you do. What have you done to us, our family?
He chose his family, me and his kids. My family took him in whenever you guys turned your backs on him because he chose.
Turn our back on him. He turned his back on us because of you.
Kathy Hilliard, Mr. Hilliard's mother, brings everyone to near tears with her emotional testimony. She feels robbed of her relationship with her son, blaming Miss Chandler for driving a wedge between them. Her words tug at the heartstrings, setting the stage for an even more dramatic revelation with the DNA results.
You guys have always been able to come around.
No.
You chose not.
You guys could come around, but you didn't want to.
You're the one that told me
whenever
I don't need a family, I have a family. Yeah.
Because you turned your back on me, attacking me, coming to my house, taking
then
my
why don't you
stepson.
keep that tater trap of yours shut?
I'm sorry, but whenever you got something to say to me, I'll come 10 times worse.
They've kept your grandchildren from you too?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Hilliard throws another curveball, expressing doubts about the timeline of Chandler's pregnancy announcement. His skepticism adds another layer of suspense to the already tense courtroom. Everyone is holding their breath for the DNA test results. Brace yourself for the big reveal.
Right after we had, I knew I was pregnant. So, I don't know how.
Mr. Hilliard, when she said that to you, what were you thinking?
What the hell?
I asked you to be honest, and you were.
How's that possible?
I didn't tell him that I was pregnant.
She waited until he was in California with his sick to call and say that she's pregnant, mysterious.
Until I had proof.
As the judge prepares to unveil the DNA test results, the courtroom is thick with anticipation. The argument reaches a fever pitch, with both sides desperately arguing their case. This is the moment everyone has been waiting for, and the results are about to turn everything upside down.
In the case of Brandon Jr., Mr. Hilliard, your wait is over. You are the father.
Thank you.
Now,